In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a multi-decoration design. Now, this was a project that I recently did for a customer who came in, was looking for a design to put on a shirt for their cheer team, and they really didn't know what in the world they wanted. They just wanted a design for their cheer team. And sometimes working with people who don't know what they want can be a little challenging because we wind up spending a lot of time creating artwork that they may or may not even like. So the approach with this particular design was, well, I want to create something that's visually appealing, that I can create quickly, artwork wise. If the client does like the design, then of course something that I can produce quickly, and of course something that's profitable. So this design kind of fits that bill. If they decide they don't like it, it only takes a few minutes to make it, and so I'm not out a whole lot of money just creating a quick mock-up for them. So that's what we're going to kind of show you how to do here, using some special tools here in CorelDRAW, as well as some special functions here in EasyStone to help us out along the way. So the first thing we're going to do is grab our text tool, type out the letter S. We'll make it a little bit bigger. We will go ahead and change out to College Slab, and very popular font for doing athletic work. And then we're going to just drag the letter S with our left mouse button, right click to make a duplicate, double click on it to change it to a C. And I'll just kind of, position it wherever we want to right now. So then the next thing to do is to take a look at the Pom Pom. I knew I wanted a Pom Pom, and so what I did is I came out to the website, clicked on Rhinestone Design Shop, and up here in the upper left hand corner, all we did is type out the word cheer. And this will show us all of our designs that have cheer in them. And you can see we have quite a few different designs that meet that bill. And so I want to take a look at this Pom Pom to see if we can use it in our design, if it'll match up size-wise with what we want to create. So I have this design on my desktop, and in my case I have it in a CorelDRAW format. Now you could have an SVG, an EPS, whatever it might be. We're just going to click and drag right into our CorelDRAW workspace. That will import the design. Sometimes we might get these weird warning messages, but we're just going to say no and just kind of ignore that and bypass that. Now this particular design, we have to zoom out a little bit because it's like way over here, and I'm not quite sure why, but when you import a design, when you drag and drop from your desktop into your CorelDRAW workspace, it's always going to come in grouped. So we're going to right click on it, ungroup it, get rid of all of the elements we're not using. So this mock-up, we don't need that. These color separations of the design, we don't need that. And then we're just going to zoom out here a little bit and move it over to what we're working on over here. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is we need to extract our Pom Pom from the rest of the design. And we actually have a tool here in CorelDRAW, which is our freehand pick tool. It's one of the marvelous tools that is only available in CorelDRAW X6. If there's any one reason to upgrade, this would be it, because it's quite a useful tool. I use it all the time. But what we're going to do is come over here. Now initially this tool might be a little weird to you. It was to me when I first started using it, but for you WinPC Sign folks, you have a similar selection tool in it. But what we're going to do is come way over here to the right and just click and drag, and just drag out. See how that? Just drag that out, and you'll see what it will do. It does take a second, but it'll look inside that selection, and it picks up everything inside that selection. So that's kind of a pretty handy tool. So what do you do if you don't have CorelDRAW X6? Well, we actually have a similar tool that we created. So we can come over here to our freehand tool in Corel. It's the fifth icon down here, and we'll draw out a shape. It's very similar. Okay, just like that. So this, we drew out a selection, and then if we come over to our selections tab and choose select by outline, it does basically the same thing. It'll pick up our Pom Pom. Now our selection tool isn't quite as sensitive as the one that's built into CorelDRAW. So you can see we do have a couple of extra stones, but it's not that big a deal to come in here, and then we can just isolate, get rid of the stones that we don't need. There we go. Okay, so there is our Pom Pom has been extracted. Now, if we bring our Pom Pom over to our lettering here, I'm a little not too overwhelmed by that. So we would have to make our lettering much smaller. So let's try that to get it more proportionally to what I want. I want it something kind of like that. Make our lettering a little bit bigger. You know, you just kind of tweak it and play with it a little bit till you get it looking how you want it. So I might make my lettering just a little bit bigger. Maybe something along those lines. So if we go that route, let's select the entire design. You can see it's only 6 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. And that's really a lot smaller than what I was looking for. So I might just make my lettering a little bit smaller. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't really matter. So if we look at the entire design, it's 5.5 inches wide, 6.7 inches tall. Well, that's not going to cut the mustard. So the next thing to do is to look at the Pom Pom, look at one of those circles, and you can see it's 2.6 millimeters right now. And so what that tells me is these are set for SS6 stones. That's what the 2.6 millimeters is what I use for SS6 stones. So what I could do is say, okay, well, what would this design look like if these stones were SS10 stones? So what we're going to do is select a stone, come over to the Specialty tab, right-click on Scale Design. It tells us that the design is currently 2.6 millimeter stones. I'm going to select the entire design, stones, and our lettering, and we're going to change our stone size to 3.4 and click on Scale Design. And then when we do that, the whole thing gets bigger. Now if we click on one of these stones, you can see that the stone size is 3.4, which is what we use to cut our SS10 stones. And if I select the entire design, it is roughly 7.25 by almost 9 inches tall. And that is about perfect what we're looking for. So we're on the right track. Now, you can see in this design we have this little outline around the lettering, and to me it just adds a little bit of visual interest to the layout. And so what we're going to do is kind of recreate that for you and show you how to do that. So the way I do that is let's select a letter here and use this contour tool, interactive contour tool. We just click on our letter and pull to the outside and see that outline. That outline gives us a preview of how much we're pulling to the outside. And we can fine-tune this later. So if you want to just pull it out a bunch, you can. But just get that offset looking however you want. Alright, so let's just say I want that much offset. Now, remember I said we could modify this. We could adjust this. So maybe I want this offset to be exactly 1/8 inch. Well, right here, this box defines how much offset we have. So because we have the contour selected, we can say give me 1.25, enter, and now our contour is exactly 1/8 inch. Now if I wanted to, what if I want 3/16 of an inch? Well, what is the decimal equivalent of 3/16 of an inch? I don't know. So in CorelDRAW, we can actually type in fractions. So we could type in 3/16, and it will make the conversion for us. And look at there. The decimal equivalent of 3/16 is 0.188. So I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there for you. If you're ever, in your mind, you say, you know what, I want it more than 1/8, but less than 1/4, let's do 3/16, and you don't know what that decimal equivalent is, well, you don't have to. Just type in 1/8 inch. Boom, it's 1/8 inch. It will automatically make those calculations for you and convert to decimals. Pretty nifty, right? Now, once we have a contour already set to one object, we can select another object and apply another contour. So we're going to go back to our interactive contour tool and use this little button right here, copy from this. And now we know that they're both exactly the same. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to break the yellow contour from the black letter. And so to do that, we're just going to select that yellow contour. In fact, you can right click on it, break contour group apart. Same thing here. Click on that, right click on the outline, break contour group apart. Now these are two separate things. And now we're going to contour again. So go back to our contour tool. So select our yellow shape this time. Go back to the contour tool. This time where the paint bucket is, let's change it to pink. Honestly, it really doesn't matter what color you choose. But what's interesting about that, when you do that, when you change the color, it will automatically repeat the same distance contour that we did previously. So in this case, it automatically did 1/8 of an inch. So that's fine. That's actually what we wanted for that one. So then we'll go ahead and click this one. And again, we can probably just come in here and choose the copy function to copy it from our previous shape. And just like before, we're going to right click on the pink outline, break contour group apart, right click on the pink outline, break contour group apart. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the yellow from our letter C, hold the shift key down, grab the pink, and come over here to the editing tab in EasyStone and click on trim. And what that will do, as you can see, it just cut that out. See, so that's that outline that we created over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those two things and I'm going to combine them together as one shape. Now, for our letter S, we're going to do something a little bit different. For the letter S, what we're going to do is we're going to take all three of these shapes. Now here's a little CorelDRAW tip for you. Typically, in order to select something, we have to select the entire something. But if we hold down the Alt key and just swipe through like this, we can pick up all three pieces of our letter S. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a shift page up, like so. Okay. So it's actually above our stones at this point. But that's fine for what we're doing right now. What I need to do is I need to create, you can see we have the S, a little gap, the outline, and a little gap as we go over the C. So that's what we need to do next. So what we're going to do here is take our pink and go back to that interactive contour tool, the same amount of contour, 1/8 of an inch. And so we're just going to change the color. And as we do that, it changes, right? So then we're going to right click on that green, break contour group apart. Now we're going to use the green to trim, hold the shift key, the S, and choose trim objects. Then we can get rid of the green because we don't need it no more. And now you can see how it trimmed that letter C there. And then we're going to take the yellow and the pink and trim. And we'll delete the yellow. And then we can take our pink, hold our shift key down, grab the inside of our letter S, and click right here, which is our combine tool. Okay, and that is how we get the S and C overlap, just like we did in the original design. Pretty nice, huh? So now we can take both of these shapes, hit shift page down, and now obviously the shapes are behind our rhinestones. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give these a different color. We'll do a gray color here, and then what I'll do is I'll select the entire design, and let's add a weed box. So we'll go to the miscellaneous, add weed box, do a 25mm weed box. So now the next step we need to do is we need to cut our letters where we have stones. Our stones need to actually adhere to the shirt, not to the glitter material, not to the heat press vinyl material. They need to be glued right to the shirt. And so what we've done is we've just cut all the way around where their stones are going to be. We are going to cut our lettering. Let me show you how we're going to do that. So what we're going to do for that is we're just going to select our entire design of rhinestones. And then we're going to go over here to the Specialty tab, and on the Create Decal Cut Line object, what we're going to do is we're going to right click on this. it'll bring us up a dialog box and allows us to define the offset contour value, which in this case I'm going to do 2 millimeters. And we'll hit save. And so when I click on Create Decal Cut Line, notice we get this weird error message. And I wanted to show you this because sometimes things aren't perfect. What this error message tells me is that something went amiss. What is that something? And this is why I wanted to show you this, because there's something in the original design. We can't see what the something is, but there's something causing that function not to work. So what I did was when I discovered that, I went and used a tool here in EasyStone to help eliminate the problem. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select a pink stone, hold the shift key down and select a crystal stone, and we're going to come to our selections tab and we're going to click on mark selected object. Now what I think is happening is there's a mysterious hidden object that the Create Decal Cut Line feature does not like. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select everything again where our rhinestones are, but we're going to tell EasyStone only pick up objects that specifically match the two colors that I marked, which in this case is pink and crystal, and only pick up objects that match the size of what I marked within 0.4 of a millimeter. So we're getting very specific. So if there's some weird anomaly that I can't see, it won't pick it up because it's not going to match the criteria that I'm specifying. So when I click on Create Selection, it creates a new selection. Now, the moment of truth. Is it going to make a liar out of me? I don't know. We have to try it, right? So we've already defined the contour value. That contour value stays until we change it. Okay, and we change it, remember, by just right-clicking on that Create Decal Cut Line. So it's always going to stay 2 unless we change it to something else. But at any rate, what we're going to do is click on Create Decal Cut Line now, and lo and behold, it did not make a liar out of me. It is working. So sometimes when weird things happen like that, it's because we created very poor artwork, not because the software doesn't know what to do necessarily. All right, now here's the thing that I wanted to show you about this Create Decal Cut Line that it's important for us to understand. Let's go back over to wireframe mode. See all these little islands, what I call islands. See them all? There's all kinds of them. There's this one, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. There's all kinds of islands in here. And so let's go back to enhance mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually duplicate this design because I want you to understand what's really happening here. If the reason that we created this decal cut line is we're going to use it as kind of a cookie cutter of our lettering. If I were to use this in its current state, watch what happens. I select my decal cut line, hold my shift key and click on the letter S here, and then we'll go back to our editing tab and we'll trim objects. Okay, and then we're going to do the exact same thing. Hold the decal cut line, click on my letter C, and we're going to click on trim objects. So you can see something happen, but watch what it looks like. It looks like this. Now, can you imagine the mess that we have if we're cutting this? First of all, our cutter is going to have to cut all those little tiny specks. Okay, so that's one issue. But then imagine trying to go in and weed all those little tiny pieces. Okay, so that's not practical, right? So what we did is we created a function to just clean up that decal cut line for us, because we wouldn't really cut any decal material in this fashion. So when we click on our decal cut line object, we hold the shift key down and then click on Create Decal Cut Line. So right click defines the offset. Clicking, just regular left click, will create the outline. Shift clicking will get rid of all of those inside pieces. So now if you look, let's go back over to wireframe mode. See how nice and clean that is? All those inside pieces, those little tiny things that aren't really cuttable, aren't really weedable, they're gone. They're history. We don't have to deal with it. So now we can use our decal cut line as our cookie cutter for our letter S. Come back to the editing tab and trim. We have our cookie cutter and our letter C, and we're going to trim that. And then of course for this project we don't actually need that decal cut line. And there you go. So now there is this little piece right here I see, so we can go ahead and delete that. And we could decide if we want this piece as part of the design, which I don't think I do. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And there we go. Okay. So that takes care of that. So then the last thing to do as far as to show to our customer, let's go ahead and select our stones. Come over here and we'll simulate those. And then if we're doing a glitter fill, what I would do is let's go ahead and take both letters here. We'll come to our pattern fill tool. Again, we're going to build this functionality right into EasyStone so we don't have to click and click and click and click. But for now, we don't have no choice. So we're going to go back to our glitter samples here that Tim made us. And this was Tim's original silver glitter. I lightened it up a little bit for my own personal taste. So this is my silver glitter material. And then we're going to do a 10 by 6 because he made them textures nice and big. So we'll hit 10 by 6. And you can see we have a really nice looking glitter mock-up. And then, yes, there's more. We're going to go to the miscellaneous tab, right click, choose this add bling. And I'm just going to add tiny little itty bitty sparkles wherever I want to. Wherever I click, there's a little bitty sparkle, and maybe we'll add a couple on the rhinestones here just for fun. And we hit escape. Alright, now we use EasyStone for everything that we do, and so we have all these quirky little crazy things that we built into it just because we use it all the time. So sometimes it's hard to really know what all these little things are in EasyStone. But if we select the entire design and we click on Stone Use Report, notice what the design size is. It says 5 inches wide by 4 inches high. If we click Add Dimensions, it's going to add dimensions for our rhinestones portion of the design, which I don't want. I want to be able to show my customer the designs. And so if you go over here to Macro Manager, we have these quick pick tools. And in there we have Add Dimensions. Now what's interesting with Add Dimensions is if I were to make a selection and I run that, let's go ahead and run it. See, it adds the same dimensions that we got when we used the Stone Use Report and Add Dimensions, right? But this Add Dimensions has a little bit extra functionality. And that is if we were to select the entire design and the design had something other than stones, when I right click and choose Add Dimensions, notice what we get. We get dimensions based on the entire design, not just the stone part of the design. So it's one smart cookie. And what I actually did is I actually right click and you can assign a keyboard shortcut. So when I do it, I just make my selection, hit Alt D is what I set up, D as in dog, for my keyboard shortcut, and boom, there's my dimensions. And now I can export this design as a JPEG file to send to the customer and see if they like it, see if they don't. So hopefully that gives you a few tips on using CorelDRAW, on using some of the special functions here in EasyStone. And there's lots to learn, but once you learn it, you'll be able to produce just about anything you can imagine and do it fairly quickly and easily as well, once you understand all the little tips and tricks along the way. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.